In your soul, there have been times in your life, I know, when you've had something that you wanted so much. Maybe you wanted something for someone you care about. Maybe you wanted something for yourself, but you became so obsessed with something, achieving and experiencing, whether it was a transformation, in yourself, a change in your business, making a certain amount of money, getting a job, increase at some position. Somewhere in your life, you've gotten obsessed enough to really want to create something that you may not even know how you were going to do it. But you just wanted it, desired it, that you started all of a sudden taking action and you got insights. And before you knew it, what used to be just this impossible dream became a reality. Is it fair to say that at some stage in your life that there are some things today in your life that were once just a dream or a goal, that once seemed difficult or impossible, whether it be the job you have or the relationship you're in and might be taking for granted? Well, then you and I are creators. And very often when we get overwhelmed by so many things that we feel out of control by, we start getting into being managers of our life, managing our pain, managing through the situation. You've got to allow yourself to be able to take advantage of uncertainty. You have to work on change. Change is automatic. Progress is not. Progress comes when you tell yourself the truth and you're able to feel the uncertainty and take action anyway. The thing that stops us all is fear. It's no surprise. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown, fear of not looking good. And that fear we could translate into the simple thing of uncertainty. Someone who's incredibly successful, someone who's truly a leader in their life or in their field. The one thing they have in common is they exude this sense of certainty. Great leaders know how to step in the uncertainty and bring the certainty to the situation.
I think that's why Paul said you've got to learn how to walk by faith and not by sight. That once you begin to trust yourself and your ideas and your instincts, life takes on a whole new meaning, because now I want you to do that feeling that you are led. Just feel, I am led. Ladies and gentlemen, don't give your power away. You don't need anybody to approve your dream. It was given to you. If they can't see it, it's because it wasn't given to them. It was given to you. Hold it, nourish it, cultivate it, work on it. It's yours. It's your baby. Work on it until it comes into fruition. I gave away my power and I said, I'm not going to do that no more.
No limit people are human beings who take what they are and accept it, and don't tell themselves that somehow they're deficient because of anything about themselves. This is a very crucial concept for me and for virtually all of us. It's this idea of taking your life in your own hands and being the kind of person that you choose to be, and understanding that everything that comes your way is an opportunity, is a blessing. And it wasn't until I learned how to celebrate virtually everything that came my way that I was able to transcend it. Everything else that you have on our planet, that we have on our planet, comes about as a result of thinking. Thought makes it so. All right? Everything that you see that wasn't given to us was created by man as a result of the way that we think, So what gets inside of us as a cell comes about as a result of the way that we choose to think in our lives. Very important principle to understand, because once you get a hold of thinking and that it creates everything that you have in your life, you can change and make it as absolutely perfect as you want it to be, because thought makes it so.
When you make decisions about what to focus on and what things mean and what to do, and you're unconscious, you get pretty terrible results usually. Now, we've all done this. I do it still. We all do. But if you want to change your results, you got to become more conscious in your decision making. So think about it. What you focus on, you will feel. Whether it's true or not. You focus on how people don't care, you're going to feel they don't care. Second decision you make is, what do things mean? So you focus on something someone does and you come up with a meaning, and the meaning is, no one loves me. The meaning is, they're trying to take advantage of me. Depending on what meaning you come up with, and you get to choose the meaning of anything. For some people, they say this situation happened with the economy, and what that means is I'm going broke. Somebody else said the situation happened with the economy. Guess what? That means I'm going to work harder. I'm going to be more creative. It changed everything. Everybody else is going to quit, so we're going to dominate the marketplace. For people to do it. Is this the...
Now you're here right now. You got it and you handled that fear. You kicked it out of there. All right? Remember that play Color Purple? I remember when Albert told the girl she couldn't go with Sure. He said, where you going? You know, this girl been wanting all her life live her dream. But she was afraid. She felt incompetent and he had beaten her down and her self-esteem had eroded. He said, where you going? You can't talk, Sure can talk. You ugly, you dumb, Sure got class, you ain't got nothing. Where you going? You ain't gonna make it, you're gonna fail. She said, look here, I might be ugly, I might be dumb, I might can't talk. She said, but I'm still here. I'm still here. And so as you begin to look at the fears in back of you, you came through those fears and you're still here. See, that's a testament about how powerful you are. And so whatever the volcano is, you have the capacity to take that volcano on, the capacity to jump in it and find your true identity. Here's another thing that keeps a lot of people from taking on the volcanoes and jumping into the challenges that they're confronted with. The fear of making mistakes or not feeling good enough. Guess what? You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. Guy said this, and it's true. He said, the person who has never made a mistake hasn't done anything. You're going to make some mistakes if you want to do something out here. You're going to fall flat on your face. You're going to be criticized when you come out into the arena called life. You're going to feel awkward and stupid and dumb sometimes. It goes with the territory. But it's okay. What's important is that you bring your stuff out here. Are you good enough? Prepare yourself. See, there's no substitute for competency. A positive attitude won't get it. Being enthusiastic won't get it. So you got to prepare yourself. You've got to develop yourself. You've got to practice. You've got to work. You've got to do your homework. You've got to do your research. See, a lot of people have a yes, I can attitude, but a no, I can't aptitude. And competency builds confidence. And confidence feeds into competency. See, the better you become, the more confident you feel. And the more confident you feel, the better you want to become. You realize that you have no ceiling. That you can better whatever you've done so far. You can go beyond that. You don't become cocky and arrogant, feeling that you've already arrived, as most people have. And that's why they've settled for less than what they rightly deserve in life. Because they feel they've arrived and they say, well, I can rest now. I can rest on my laurels now. I've made it.
Stop doing the things that you know are wrong that you could stop doing. Right? So it's a fairly limited attempt. First of all, we're not going to say that you know what the good is or what the truth is in any ultimate sense. But we will presume that there are things that you're doing that for one reason or another you know are not in your best interests. There's something about them that you just know you should stop. They're kind of self-evident to you. Other things you're going to be doubtful about. You're not going to know which way is up and which way is down. But there are things that you're doing that you know you shouldn't do. Now, some of those you won't stop doing for whatever reason. You don't have the discipline, or maybe there's a secondary payoff, or you don't believe it's necessary, or it's too much of a sacrifice, or you're angry or resentful or afraid. Who knows? So forget about those for now. But there's another subset that you could stop doing. It might be a little thing. Well, that's fine. Stop doing it and see what happens. And what'll happen is your vision will clear a little bit. And then something else will pop up in your field of apprehension that you will also know you should stop doing, and that you could stop doing, because you've strengthened yourself a bit by stopping doing the particular stupid thing that you were doing before. That just puts you together a little bit more. And you could do that repeatedly for an indefinite period of time. And you know, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to ever be able to formulate a clear and final picture of what constitutes the truth and the good. But it does mean that you'll be able to continually move away from what's untruth and what's bad. And, you know, that's not a bad start.
First, you'll have to start paying attention to your actions. Ask yourself, is what I'm doing going to lead me to where I want to be in life? You find yourself constantly bored, daydreaming about the future or past, or counting down the minutes until the day ends. It's probably because you feel disconnected from what you're doing. Cherish your time. Try to spend your free time doing things that you enjoy doing, rather than wasting time. For example, rather than spending your weekends watching television, spend them partaking in your hobbies or spending time with loved ones and new friends. Measure your productivity by engagement, not achievement. Not everything you do has to be productive in the conventional sense, but activities should be engaging. Keep in mind that it is perfectly fine to spend some time doing nothing and just being lazy each day. This can actually help with your imagination and self-awareness. Strive for a balance between doing things you want to do and allowing yourself to just be.
Some people can receive a blessing from the Lord and come up in their standards and still maintain their focus. Other people, the moment they get 2 nickels and a dime, they start acting like strangers you never knew before. They just cannot handle the blessing of the Lord. One good blessing and they can't speak to anybody, and one good blessing and they're shaking your hand with 3 fingers out. You don't have to waste time going on a witch hunt. You don't have to chase down rumors. You don't have to chase down gossip. You don't have to change anybody's mind about you. You don't have to change their attitude. Your blessing is not predicated upon anybody else's opinion. The only thing you have to worry about is not cursing yourself.
One of the things that I believe can destroy your family, your organization, your existence, is to allow a toxic person to come in unaware. Here's what I believe to be true. Hateful people are simply hurt people. I believe with all my heart. People who are hateful are people who have been hurt. And guess what? The problem with hurt people is they do what? They hurt people.
You should surround yourself with people who genuinely want the best for you. And if the people around you are not supporting you in your endeavors and they put you down and they punish you for your virtues or even punish you too intensely for your faults and fail to reward you when you're doing what you should be doing, that there comes a point where you would be better off finding someone who is actually on your side. And that can even be the case with family members, although of course that's a very difficult decision to make. But sometimes people do have the misfortune of being tangled up with family members who are operating in a manner that's so counterproductive to their health that it's better for them, despite the pain, to cease communication with them.
See, a lot of folk won't let you forget what you used to do or what you have done, what mistakes you've made. All of us have made some mistakes in life. All of us have done some things that if we had them to do over again, we wouldn't do it again. There are a lot of things that if I had it to do over again, if I knew then what I know now, I would have done it differently. Well, it didn't happen that way. And that's what you call life. I didn't do it like that. Oh, you don't want me to live that down, huh? You want to keep on putting that in my face about what I did. Guess what? I'm not interested. That's what I did then. Won't do it today, so you are picking on an innocent man.
There are people that do not want you to lift your head and to walk proudly in this life. Well, they will say to you is, hey, don't you remember what you did back then? But see, the haters, they see that, and because they don't have that peace, they don't want you to have it either. I guarantee you, if you show me a person that is a hateful person in this life, I will show you a person that has been treated hatefully in his own life. He's been treated cruelly. He has been outed. He has been disenfranchised. He or she has been disenfranchised.
But I would say, even if you don't like the idea of removing the toxic people in your life, you should certainly endeavor to surround yourself with the sorts of people that you would want to surround someone that you regarded as your friend or loved one. So you need to extend the same courtesy to yourself, especially to the part of yourself that's striving upward, that you would to someone that you cared for.
You're looking at a guy who got rejected a lot of times. I had friends who were friends that I grew up with, that over time, like for some reason, they just didn't want to hang with me anymore. So, what do? Well, I can only tell you what I did. I got busy working on becoming a stronger version of myself. And I put all of my focus and energy on developing my skills as an athlete, getting stronger, getting bigger, getting faster, and getting better at the sport of football. So that allowed me to hone my group of friends, bring in a group of friends, to lead a group of people, and to use the gifts that I've been given, that I naturally have, to gain influence in school and socially. So that's my experience. It was through sports and football. But I guarantee you, bro, that there is something about you that's magnificent, and you're going to have to work on that and find a group of kids that appreciate that. I would invite you to play sports, because that's, it's what I do. But if that's not your inclination, find a group, find other cliques of individuals that you can gain influence with, that you could earn friendships through, because you have a common goal or a common value.
Unapologetically get rid of all things, people, and situations that no longer belong in your life. That means you are going to boldly step into and walk into the unfamiliar. Boldly and abruptly get rid of things, people, and situations, relationships, friendships, surroundings. Deciding that you love yourself enough to no longer walk in the direction of pain, drama, or dysfunction. There's no way that you can say that you love yourself when you don't like most of your friends. There's no way that you can say that you are really concerned about your career getting to another level if you still have those managers, agents, lawyers, business people, or anything associated to your business. Let me tell y'all something. I realized a long time ago, I only got one Tyrese Gibson. I'm not angry. I'm convinced. Who wakes up every day and says, I want to invite as many dysfunctional and crazy people in my life and around my life every single day? Who does that? You don't like them, so why are they still there? You don't trust them, so why are they still there?
So I believe also hateful people have a need to put you down because they really are trying to make themselves feel better. They lose sight of contentment. They stop counting their blessings and they start counting the blessings of other people. That's who they are. They're people that do not like to see you advancing in life.
Other thing is that in order to get out of a rut, we need some coaching. Find some trusted critics, people that care about you and love you. So there's some things that keeps us from growing and getting out of ruts. Number one, we identify with feedback. We take it personal when someone wants to give us some feedback on where we are falling short and tell us about our blind spots. We want to have everything being positive about us. We're not perfect. It hurts. I have a friend who's a trusted critic. I don't like him, but I love him. He doesn't tell me the things I want to hear. He tells me what I need to hear so I can grow. It hurts. It hurts when he put me on the hot seat. I can't stand it. But that's the only way that I can grow. And I'm glad that he loves me enough to risk our friendship to tell me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear.
Take a look at the people that are around you. And if they're not on the side of what's good for you, then walk away. You want friends who, when something good happens to you, that's good for you. They're happy about that. They're not like all bitter and resentful underground and like saying horrible things behind your back and trying to drag you down. It's like that's not helpful. And then when something bad happens to you and you go to them and you say, look, this terrible thing happened to me, they're not secretly gloating about the fact that catastrophe finally befell you.
Sometimes we have to ask ourselves, what's using my life? Heard a guy give a lecture one time that says, we are today what we were when. And he was talking about the fact that we, to a great extent, behave, think, react because of some previous experience that we've had. So when you begin to look at your past, give an interpretation that empowers you. That's where I used to be. That's not where I am now. I'm growing. I love myself unconditionally, and I forgive myself. If I knew better, I would have done better. The other thing is about life, when things happen to you, when you permit things to use you, you can't change the past, but you can reinterpret how you see it. Same event, but reinterpreted. An interpretation that empowers me. Get a support group, somebody that you can talk to. People who perhaps might have a similar problem. Support groups are very powerful, that you can share some of the challenges that you're going through. And it might be a situation where one person can give you an idea of how they handle that situation and create an opening for you. Begin to stimulate some possibilities in your mind on how you can resolve the problem. We can't grow by ourselves. As I mentioned before, we grow from people and projects.
Think of it like this. For every peace stealer you allow in your life, you are 20% more likely to live stressed, on edge, to have a crisis. I'm asking you to find happy friends. I am saying you should put up some boundaries. You don't have to make a big announcement. Like I did, just little by little, spend less and less time with that person. If you don't get the wrong people out of your life, you'll never meet the right ones. Especially in your inner circle, the people who are closest to you need to be stable, consistent, happy, responsible people that move you toward your destiny. Like iron sharpens iron, you make each other better. And this is the reason many people are stuck. Who do you have in your life? What are you giving your time and energy to? Putting out fires? Trying to keep someone happy? Feeling guilty because you can't meet their demands? That's going to wear you out. It's time to make a change. You can't please everyone.
I'm wondering today who's watching, who's facing real disappointment, real pain, real discouragement, real confusion, real hurt, real wondering, when is my purpose going to pick up? When am I going to actually discover why on earth I'm here?
Your values in life determine your stress, determine your success, and determine your salvation. Unclear values cause confusion. They cause confusion in your life. Conflicting values in your life cause tension. Unclear cause confusion. Conflicting values cause tension. False values create deception. And the wrong values create dysfunction.
A bad attitude makes you unattractive. It overrides what's on the outside. It's important to look good, to develop your skills, to get an education, but it's even more important to keep a good attitude.
Like attracts like. You have to understand, you are a magnet. Whatever you are, that's what you draw to you. If you're negative, you're going to draw negativity. You're positive, you draw positive. You're a kind person, more people are kind to you. So you're like a magnet, you know, and you got to understand something about like attracts like. If you see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand.
Live like a warrior so you can die like a legend. Let us fight and fight and don't surrender. Gotta fight. Gotta live like a warrior. You gotta be in fight mode. Warriors are vigilant. My favorite book says, watch as well as pray. Yeah, you got to watch. You don't want to go to sleep at the wheel. You got to watch.
You don't want to get caught up in the hoopla. Oh, get it done in 21. Yeah, you have the power to get it done in 21, but you got to watch what's going on.
Your attitude is going to determine your altitude. It will determine how high or how low you go. Well, Joel, I've always been kind of negative, critical, condescending. That's just who I am. No, that's who you're choosing to be. That's not who you are. That may be how you were raised, but that's not how you have to stay. Try being kind, friendly, good-natured. You'll not only enjoy life more, but you'll go further.
So forget what can't be changed and focus on the future. Until you learn to do this, you're going to be unhappy much of your life. Because you hold on to the habits, and you hold on to the hurts and the hang-ups, and you hold on to the grief and the guilt and the grudges, and that causes so much unhappiness in your life. You got to let it go.
Disappointment happens for a whole lot of different reasons. Yet I think the most basic way that we could define how a disappointment takes place is disappointment is birthed from unmet expectations. Just because you're facing a disappointment today doesn't mean that you have to live defeated. It doesn't have to let you believe that your whole entire destiny is delayed and will never ever be reached. No, life is gonna have highs and lows, peaks and troughs.
So many people overlook this very simple quality. You don't have to figure it out. That's what freezes people. When you're trying to figure out your life all the way to the end, when you can't figure it out, it freezes you from trying it because you go, oh, well, I can't figure that out. Oh, I can't go over there because I don't know how. You don't have to know how. You have to ask, believe, and receive.
And sometimes we're discouraged over what we brought on ourselves. It's not the enemy, it's our attitude. The good news is, all you have to do is make an attitude adjustment. It's not complicated. You can't change other people. You can't change how you were raised. A lot in life we can't control. But one thing we can all control is our attitude.
And be vigilant, because it's a new place, a new strategy. Stuff's going on. Some we're aware of. A lot of it we don't know. And we got to stay in fight mode. Why? You know why I have my pictures of my children there? It's not about, I'm 75. I know I got more yesterdays than tomorrows. I got to stay in fight mode. What? I'm going to finish strong.
Are you focusing all your energies? You have a limited amount of energy. You don't have unlimited energy. Since you don't have unlimited energy, I highly suggest you don't waste any of it on something that you can't change in the past. Why in the world would you give one more second of emotional energy to something that is never going to change? It's done, it's over, it's finished. Your past is past. You got to let it go.
When you're good-natured, friendly, opportunity will come your way. People want to do business with people that they like.
Maybe it's not some other person you're disappointed. Maybe it's yourself. This is something that I struggle with in quite a massive way. Is that usually most of my disappointments aren't because of other people. Most of my disappointments in life are because of me. I tend to disappoint myself more than anybody else disappoints me. I tend to not live up to my own expectations, to my own standards, to my own values, and I find myself often beating myself up or talking down to myself, and I can find myself at times living in a cloud of disappointment that has nothing to do with anybody else. It has everything to do with the way that I look at myself.
It's a major key that most people shy away from. And this is not for everybody. This is not for the faint at heart. People who have no goals and no dreams and okay with living a small life. Don't get anything done with the same mindset, the same relationships, the same vision, no direction, no purpose. They're okay with that.
Am I going to live this day negative, sour, seeing the wrong, chip on my shoulder, or am I going to live it in faith, positive, hopeful, seeing the best, being good to people? This is a choice that we have to make every day. If you're going to have a good attitude, you have to do it on purpose, because there will be all kinds of negative things that try to creep in. If you're not proactive, if you don't choose the right attitude, then the wrong attitude will show up.
Everything about this life has created a sense of urgency, and everybody has been scattered. And that's what I believe is happening right now. This is when survival instincts kicks in. This is when it's real. This is when it's about you, your survival instincts, and God.
And isn't life like that? Every single day we get taken off course. You know, we get busy versus focused. We want to do the run or we want to do the workout, but there's a seduction by some kind of a distraction. We have an ideal of being world class in our work, but there's an attraction to sort of taking a little shortcut. And so literally every single day is an opportunity to get back on course with that needle of your world class ideals. And so I wanted to offer you some ideas that have really served me well, because I'm just like you, I'm trying to aspire to the top of the mountain over the course of the rest of my life. And the first idea that life has really taught me is really this: small wins matter. I mean, we sometimes think that an epic life occurs one sunny Friday afternoon when the stars line up and something revolutionary occurs. And what I'm suggesting to you with great love and great respect is a great life is built not by revolution. A great life is built by evolution. Small and steady wins the race. What you do every day is far more important than what you do once every decade. I want you to really think about that idea. What you do every day is simply your life in miniature. And as you live every single day, so you're crafting your life. What you do over the next hours is really building your future. And if you can just get, and I can just get every single pocket of 24 hours right as best as we humanly can, the rest of our life is going to take care of itself. So small wins matter. You know, the moment in front of the customer where the pull was to go average and you become merchant of wow sets you up for the next day of a way of being of wow. The little win with your family when you feel like watching TV sets you up for another win the next day. A little win of getting up at 5 o'clock and running your morning routine sets you up for a habit of a 5 a.m. club morning routine. Small daily improvements over time will lead you to stunning results. Tiny wins are the way to greatness. And that's one of the things life has taught me. When you look at the great companies, whether it's an Amazon, whether it's some of the tech startups coming out right now, whether it's a Zappos, whether it's a FedEx, whether it's a Nike, whether it's a General Electric, whether it's some of the little shops in your neighborhood that we really admire because people still cook the food with love, or they serve the food with love, or people have an attention to detail. Great companies are built by those small, steady optimizations every single day. If you look at any great product, it wasn't just one day that built the great product. It was a culture and a mindset of daily innovation and optimization when done consistently over time, which led to world class.
Let me show you this. We all live inside a bubble, right? This is our world. We go to church here, we work over here, we go get our coffee over here, we go to this park over here, we usually go over here to, hang out with friends. This is our favorite club. This is our world. This is our favorite spot on the beach. We all live in this bubble. What you gotta do to get the life that God wants you to have, you gotta put more air in your bubble. You got to blow your bubble up. Expand yourself. Take yourself out your comfort zone. Do not live in your bubble. Put some more air in your bubble. If you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you will fail. You will fail in your comfort zone. Success is not a comfortable procedure. It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt. So you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable if you ever want to be successful. Start putting some pressure on. Put some pressure on yourself. Get out here and get about it. Look, I'd love to sugarcoat this thing for you. I'd love to tell you, look, you can go out here and get rich, do a couple of things. That ain't happening. You got to get real doggish. You got to get downright funky if you want to make it. Now, like I was telling you before, if you want to be ordinary, you ain't even got to listen to me. Just go on about your business. If you think ordinary's cool, ain't no problem. It's some really, really wonderful ordinary people. But if you are sitting in this room and you have extraordinary aspirations, then you're going to have to do extra. You put extra on top of ordinary, and you come up with extraordinary. It's no other way. I'm sorry, but here's the fact. All of you have extraordinary capabilities, all of you. You have to decide if you are willing to do the things to put you in that category. Rich people don't sleep 8 hours a day. That's a third of your life. It ain't but 24 hours in a day. You cannot be sleep 8 hours a day. You can't live in LA and wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's 11 o'clock on the East Coast. The stock market been open 2 hours. They already making decisions about your life and your ass was asleep. The Bible says, he who loves to sleep and the folding of hands, poverty will set upon you like a thief in the night.
It took me a long time to understand what sacrifice meant. Because on the surface of it, especially the way it's acted out, like burnt offerings and that sort of thing, it just seems like, well, it seems so archaic and distant from us that it's not really comprehensible. But partly from reading Jean Piaget, and Nietzsche for that matter, I started to understand that people often acted out conceptions before they understood what they meant. You know, and we act out a lot of things we don't understand because we're much more complex than we can represent. So we're always acting out things we don't understand. So there's this idea in Cain and Abel that you have to make sacrifices in order to stay on the good side of God. And so I thought about that practically, say, not so much metaphysically, but practically, and realized that that was equivalent to the discovery of time, of the future, because we do act, and this is a peculiar discovery of human beings, and maybe a consequence of our expanded intelligence, is that we're actually aware of the future. We actually treat the future as if it's something that you can bargain with. Now, partly it's because the future is other people, and they remember your reputation, they remember your past actions, and if you do someone a favor, then that favor is in some sense stored up in the future. So you can think about the future as a place of judgment about your moral actions, and it's not that far from that to imagining a God who's keeping track of that, or who even is that. But in any case, the idea of sacrifice emerges in the story of Cain and Abel, and Cain and Abel both make sacrifices to God in order to stay on his good side, let's say. And what a sacrifice means is that you give up something of value in the present so that you can improve the future. And you know, that's no different from what we call discipline. It's exactly the same thing. It's just the concretely acted out version of that. And so, you know, the idea basically was that, well, God was in the transcendent heavens. And the first question would be, well, why is that? And it's like, well, if you go out on a really dark night and look up at the sky, you have a sense of what's beyond you, what's transcendent, what's infinite. And so to associate that with the highest of values is a reasonable association, right, from an emotional point of view. So it's not particularly primitive. It's a smart metaphor, or it's a smart intuition and it's above you. And you know, we tend to think of when you're moving towards an ideal that you're moving up, that you're moving above, you're moving to the mountaintop, right? You're going up, not down. And so it all sits within that same framework. And it's partly because when you go up, like on a mountain, you can see for long distances, right? So all those things are tangled together. So anyways, so the idea is that you have to give up something of value now so that you make the future better. And sometimes it's even something you love now, and that's a good example too, because often the things that stop us from moving forward are our attachments to things that we should no longer be attached to, right? And in fact, you can almost make that definitional. If you're not moving forward in your life, there's a high probability that you have some idea or some mode of action or some habit that you're so in love with that you won't let go of it.
Dreams without goals remain dreams, just dreams, and ultimately fuel disappointment. Dreams without goals, yearly goals, life goals, monthly goals, hourly goals, minute by minute goals. Dreams without goals are just dreams, and they ultimately fuel disappointment. Goals on the road to achievement cannot be achieved without discipline and consistency. You understand? Between goals and achievement are discipline and consistency.
Before you can be a painter who can paint what's beyond mere memory, you have to inculcate that discipline skill, and a lot of that is painful repetition and hard grinding work. It's the sacrifice of the present for the future. That's discipline as the precondition for freedom. But once you manage that, then things open up. And virtually everything you learn of value is like that's very, very, very difficult to learn to write. And there's arbitrary rules that you have to follow and bind yourself to. Disciplinary institutions, universities, are exactly that. Is they're places of guidance, and they're places to encourage people to develop the discipline that's necessary to see beyond the discipline. I mean, that's why we have disciplines, right? I mean, the words aren't there by accident. You have to narrow yourself first, and then you can broaden outward. And so that's part of the process of maturation. That's part of the sacrifice of childhood.
What we have to understand about developing ourselves and getting better is that it doesn't take brilliance, and it doesn't take a lot of time, and it doesn't even take a lot of effort, but it must be intentional. The fact that you don't get better automatically, you only get better because you intentionally make a decision to get better. To develop yourself, you've got to get out of the intending world and get into the doing world. So if you want to develop yourself and you want to get better, just act on what you've already expressed that you want to do.
Right, the question becomes this: can you be committed to the process of what you're doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what you're doing? Regardless of situation, regardless of circumstance, regardless of what happened, I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna give everything I got to it because I'm working for something that's totally different. Can you be committed to the process of what you're doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what you're doing? In other words, if you don't get what you thought you was gonna get, will you still be the same individual? If the situation don't turn out the way you thought it would turn out, will you still be the same individual? The quote says it: you judge the character of a man not by where he stands in times of comfort and convenience. You judge the character of a man by where he stands in times of challenge and controversies. Right? I'm talking concrete commitment. Right? Not that commitment, I'm gonna show up, I'll be there, coach. Yeah, I'll go to meetings. Yeah, I'm gonna go out, I might run hard 3 sprints. Not that, man. Not that cheap stuff, man. Not that counterfeit stuff. I'm talking concrete commitment. I'm talking a commitment that says, I am going to stay true to what I said I would do long after the mood that I've set it in has left. Right? Because when you're in them seats, it's easy to talk about what you're going to do. Right? But Mike Tyson said it. Everybody got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Right? People don't burn out in life because of what they do. People burn out because life makes them forget why they do it. Go back and do some soul searching and think about when you first started.
Many people give up on the 1 yard line, where if they have the determination just to keep on knocking. It's a funny thing about life. If you're home one day and someone is knocking on the door and you say, I don't want to be bothered today, and if that person just keep on knocking, say, can you believe that fool's still knocking? Pretty soon you say, what is it? What do you want? And that's how you've got to be about your dream. Some people, well, I guess ain't nobody home. I knocked on the door, but nobody came. I guess opportunity probably went out the back door. Oh, no. See, life is not just that simple. It's not that cut and dry. And that's why most people never realize their personal greatness, because they're casual about life. And when you're casual about life, you will end up a casualty.
Some of your thoughts and visions are so big and so outlandish and so powerful and amazing, you'll end up talking yourself out of that dream from saying, I can't afford that. Well, guess what? There's a lot of shit I can't afford. There's a lot of visions and dreams that I still can't afford. I came here to remind you that when people laugh at your visions and ideas, it's only because they don't have their own visions and ideas around what they're supposed to do with their life or their careers. People that don't have their own visions, they become vision killers. They don't have dreams for themselves. They don't have any hopes. They're hopeless. They're uninspired, unmotivated. They have no dreams. They have nothing that they're ambitious about. But I want to remind you to continue to dream and dream big. I have a habit of dreaming with my eyes open. I get very inspired by the things I see. I just wanted to remind you to dream and dream big. You have to be able to see what doesn't exist in order to be able to pull off or achieve what in most people's minds seems to be impossible. Only those that can see the invisible, being able to see what's not there. What is your vision? What is your idea? What was that God-sent dream? Only those that can see the invisible can do what seems to be impossible. You have to be relentless. You have to never let off the gas, never stop, never quit. Never allow anyone to talk you out of the dream, the vision, and ideas that God has sent you. And understand that for every level, there's another devil.